Good morning, everybody. I was awoken by the tuis this morning. They seem to be the first ones that call the day, and way before dawn. And so I come down here a little earlier, and the ducks were a bit startled. They were feeding on the grass. Anyway, I was thinking this last while about our humanness and ways in which we can reclaim that. And by humanness, I mean our natural state of being, our minds, trusting our intuition and those feelings that we have that we don't necessarily have words for, but we know in our gut to be true. I think tying in with that is our health and our physical bodies, because everything is connected, and through looking after our physical bodies, that in turn creates a healthy mind. And through being healthy, I mean eating whole foods. Someone's protesting. Yeah, I've considered myself a healthy person in terms of, eating whole foods and getting exercise, and maybe not always as much sleep as I should have, but, generally aware of those things that make for good health. But the last 18 months, I guess my body kind of had a breakdown, and I found myself breaking out, I guess, what would be considered eczema and psoriasis, like rashes, over probably 40% of my body. And I'd never, I don't say never, I've experienced some skin things before, but generally that was related to stress incidents, which would have been the case for the last 18 months as I was caring for my elderly mother. Anyway, my point is that despite my thinking that I was eating well, it was, my nervous system was, I guess, at a sort of a peak stress level, and combined with my age, I'm 60, and I don't consider myself old, but there comes a point where I think your body is not as easily able to bounce back from levels of stress and disruption, and so I think that's what's happened. And so through various investigative diets and just navigating ways that I can eliminate different foods, and it did make an improvement, and I did reach a sort of a plateau, but I never fully got rid of it. Anyway, I'm doing a program, and it's not just about, change my diet. It's about really a lifestyle, a whole, I guess, lifestyle outlook. And so I'm doing this, and it's working. And but combined with that is the reclaiming of myself, as in, what do I value, and creating simplicity in my life, or more simplicity. And I think with the simplicity, it allows our natural, our humanness to surface. So, you know, things like, growing food. I'm not doing that right now as I'm not living on my own property. But when my children were young, I had a very large vegetable garden, and it was work, but it was very rewarding. And I think, things like vegetable gardens, that can become like a community effort. And I think that's another part of our humanness, is being connected with others and in small communities. It doesn't have to be, intimate friendships and having to be involved in everyone's daily life. But if there's aspects of our life that we can bring together and draw upon our natural resources of human power, in such a thing as a vegetable garden, then that lightens the load as well as brings connection with others, and it allows us to reconnect with those natural rhythms, those seasonal cycles for ourselves as well. I think that we've kind of lost touch with seasonal cycles, because we eat foods that are out of season. We live fairly, relatively, I guess, overall, probably more indoors than we used to, going back, I don't know, hundreds of years or whatever. We've become more indoors. And for sure, the quality of life has improved overall in terms of disease and life expectancy. But I think when we're not being active in our bodies, and is brought about a lot more by convenience. And while I appreciate convenience, I mean, a washing machine is very convenient. Transport is very convenient. But I think when we don't rely on ourselves physically so much, there's a disconnect between our bodies and our planet, or our minds and our planet, and our minds and our bodies for that matter. And I think this creates a lot of disharmony in the world and within our own beings. So, further to the topic of health, the really big thing that I've learnt is about our individual gut microbiome. And as I said, I considered myself a healthy person, eating well, but the foods that I was eating weren't necessarily the right foods for me. But that's evolved, and I'm now eating things that my body can use to heal itself, and that is showing. I've been on this program for about 3 weeks now, and it is already showing results. I mean, it will take a few months for all the physical signs to dissipate. Excuse me. So yeah, our gut microbiome, the health of that affects our nervous system. It affects our hormones, and then it's the language between our body and our minds and how they communicate with each other. And of course, being a healthy weight also helps other aspects other parts of our body, in terms of, our hearts and our cholesterol and all those sides of things. I just want to put in here that I'm not a doctor, and this is not medical advice, and that I am just speaking from my own experience and what I'm finding is working for me, and how that may help other individuals. And so I think coming back into simplicity more in my life and realizing what really matters, and health is, for me, number one, that it's allowing other avenues, other gates of self-expression to open, because I'm not in a state of anxiety or fight and flight. That tension in my body is releasing because it's not plaguing my mind anymore. And so I'm able to express myself creatively, in my cooking more, in my art, and in my journaling even. And so it's all tied together, and I hope this has been helpful. Be yourself, enjoy yourself, love yourself, trust yourself. Enjoy this beautiful day.